Good morning, warriors. Fernando here, God's Prepared Warrior, and welcome to Thursday. We made it to another day, and it was 35 this morning. It was a very cold ride this morning for me on my motorcycle, and now it is warming up, and it's going to probably be warm in the afternoon. So that's just how it goes when you live here in Texas. Speaking of weather, or speaking of outages, today's video is real simple. I want to talk to you because somebody asked me, Fernando, how can I practice with my preps? And I shared with this person, I said, you can actually practice a no power night, right? What does that mean? That means that you shut everything off and you're simulating that there is no power, and what do you do next, right? So most failures don't come from lack of supplies, or they don't come from unfamiliarity. People own flashlights, right? We own flashlights. We own candles, lanterns, stoves, all of that stuff, right? But the first time we actually use them is usually during an emergency. Maybe it's when the lights go out, right? So maybe tonight, maybe this weekend, you run a controlled drill, right? Turn off your breakers, or at least all the lights, right? And the Wi-Fi, and for maybe just for an evening, and live normally, right? See what happens. How do the kids react? How do you maneuver through that kind of situation? What you're going to discover very quickly is that you're gonna learn which rooms are dangerously dark, which rooms will become dangerously cold because we're still in the winter, right? You'll learn which flashlights are weak or missing or don't have batteries, or you'll learn all that stuff, right? You'll learn how cold or how hot your house really gets when there's no AC or heating. You're going to learn all of that, right? You'll learn how much water you actually use, right? Because that's going to be your drinking source, right? You're also going to learn how quiet the house becomes without any background noise, right? You'll also learn what your family instinctively reaches for, right? What do they look for? What is the thing that they go to? I'm going to be honest. Probably the kids are going to be looking for their pads, and they're going to be like, "Hey, there's no internet. What's going on?" Right? This tells you what needs to be looked closely at, right? When a real outage is going to happen, it'll give you an idea. You'll be able to see all of these cues. The kids are going to come, "Hey, the Wi-Fi's out. Why is the Wi-Fi out?" And then you begin your inspection, or your evaluation of what's happening in the home, right? These are some skills that you can practice during this drilled planned outage. Is maybe cooking a simple meal without electricity. How do you do that? What are the items you use to do that, right? Maybe it is moving safely through the house with only one light. What does that look like? How can you create this so your family knows what to do if this event happens, right? Maybe it's learning to locate items, that you're going to need in the dark, right? Are you going to be able in the dark to look for those flashlights, find where they are? Are you going to be able to know that they're already charged and they're ready to go? Or are you going to learn that, well, maybe we should have been ready for this kind of situation, right? Maybe it's establishing different routines, right? You're not going to be able to have your normal routines of, watching TV or Netflix or anything like that, or maybe even being online, because everything's going to be down. So what do you do, right? Here's the real goal in all of it. Preparedness is muscle memory, right? I've talked about this subject on this channel many times before. Practice with your preps is how you'll hear me say it. It's muscle memory. It's us getting in the trench and learning to use our equipment, and maybe even schedule a lights out event so that we know what to do, right? The brain fears what it has never experienced. And so once you've lived through, it calmly on purpose, the real outage becomes familiar instead of chaotic. So that's something to really think about. Taking the time to schedule a training outage is what I would call it, right? So, train in peace, right? So that your mind stays steady during the disruption. So this was my thought this morning when I was reading a comment today. So think about it. How would you simulate a outage, and would you do it tonight? Would you do it over the weekend? Let me know if you do it. I would like to know how all of that plays out for you. All right, guys, this is Fernando, God's Prepared Warrior. Thank you for watching this video today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to see you on the next video. Have a great day.